Today on all the gaming news you need to know. Valve is launching with 4 Steam Machine packages. PlayStation executive says to be positive. And Sega cancels its Super game. This and more on a gaming podcast. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of Gaming Podcast, episode 130. Today I'm joined by Steve Saylor. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. You know, it's been a good week.
Good week. All right. Yeah. Love to hear that. Love to hear that. And
I don't know, Tuesday, so it can go downhill.
I know, I'm like, the week just started, but sure, I'll take it.
I've been playing Resident Evil 4 this week on stream, so that's been a lot of fun.
Maybe he's taking the long weekend off. We don't know the schedule, you know. So, but can you match that energy, Steve? Steve Varry, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. You know, it being a Tuesday, I'm optimistic that this could be a good week. We don't know though. I mean, like everything could go to hell even by the end of this episode. We really don't know. But so far, so good. I put up my review for the LG C6 TV, and that's a great TV if you have $4,500 lying around.
Where can we? Jesus Christ! Where can we see that review? If someone wants to
that's over on iPhone in Canada. I wrote that review over there.
Are they ever going to like change the name of that?
Fuck no! It's too much of a legacy IP at this point.
Okay.
Trust me. I've had that conversation many times, and yeah, it's too much of a legacy brand.
Do you still get PR folks that basically be like when you're trying to review other tech products, but they're like, do you only cover iPhones? What are you talking about?
No, I think a lot of companies know and also are open-minded enough that they're like, whatever. But although I will say, doing the media tour for the Galaxy phones earlier this year, sitting in a press room and asking high executives at Samsung questions and be like, hi, Steve Ekvari from iPhone in Canada. That's the first time that it ever dawned on me. I'm like, my life is so fucking weird. Like, this is objectively strange. Everything else, the 7 years writing for them, exchanging emails, blah, blah, blah. It's all go. That was the first time that I was like, this is weird. This is a weird one for me.
Because that's the situation that I would imagine myself getting in. It's like, oh, I'm talking to somebody who's a high up in this company that may not know me or this outlet from anything. Yep. And yet it's like, wait, so you cover iPhones? No. We cover everything. It's like, still iPhones? Like, gotta love it. Yeah.
Camille, how are you doing?
I mean, coming right in. An asteroid is hitting the Earth starting today. So there goes the week.
Well, this is our last episode.
Oh no, hantavirus has plagued the gaming podcast.
We're all being isolated. I saw a TikTok actually where someone's like, oh, they're learning TikTok dances again because of the hantavirus.
I've seen some people that are like, I'm picking up these hobbies again.
You gotta prep up. No, I'm doing good. Luckily, not sick. Sorry for the people that are. Hope they get better. Yeah, that's life.
I hear that. That was me in April. That was me in April. It's sick. So.
Well, if you were able to survive for the remainder of the week, if you found us on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts, make sure to subscribe to your feeds and share with all of your friends, considering leaving us a lovely review. Thumbs up. Don't thumbs down because you're like, I'm dying. No, just leave it a thumbs up. Bring good life and everything. Okay? Yeah.
Like you have like they're okay.
Leave this earth in a positive by leaving us a like, and then not only that, we will reward you with a lovely Forza review coming in May 14th, actually. So it'll be myself and the two Steves, Steve Twos, or whatever you want to call you guys.
Two Steve Furious.
I like that. I like that a lot. I like that a lot. Well, topic number 1, we're going to be diving in, and this comes in from IGN. Jacqueline Thomas has come in here, and this was spotted by WCCF Tech. Hey, talk about some tech names here. That one is a mouthful. I'm just letting you know right now. But it seems there'll be 4 different versions of the Steam Machine, along with 2 versions of the Steam Frame available at launch. However, while this does suggest there will be plenty of choices for the upcoming hardware, nothing as yet has been indicated how much the Steam Machine will cost. And I would love to know, what exactly would these packages entail? Are we going to be getting like the iPhone Pro Max style of things? Or are we going to see like the Steam Machine SE style of things? What are we looking at here?
I think
I feel like this is too many options. I'm just gonna say
I think it's probably going to be similar.
Gamers don't want to make decisions. We want it right in front of us. But go ahead, Steve.
I think it's probably going to be similar to how they were releasing the Steam Deck. It with the 4 different formats or 3 different formats was just the hard drive size. It's pretty like I don't even think actually even the highest end one had like a better processor or better like RAM or anything. I think it was like Steve, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was probably just hard drive size, right?
I vaguely remember there being a difference.
Something, there was.
It was like
I remember there was like one got a case and one didn't or whatever. I remember
I think there was a performance.
Yeah, I do vaguely remember it was like 256 and 520 or 512 gigabytes were the same like SKUs, same everything like processor, and then it was 1 terabyte had the slightly better. It was like the difference of a 480 to a 490,
right? Yeah, okay. So
it was pretty much just bragging rights for like those gamers that want to be like, well, I'm gaming on a
That's why that's why I probably figure what the 4 models of the Steam Machine was going to be. It's going to be different. Like maybe a little bit of performance boost, like the higher you go, but it's probably going to, and that's where I think where I'm like now that we know there's going to be potentially 4 models, I think that kind of opens up the playing field as far as like pricing, because then that potentially could mean that the maybe whatever, if they have like the 256 gig or the 512 gig, whatever the smallest or the option would be, probably might end up being in that $700 to $800 cheaper range. And then probably the more expensive one looking at probably about like 1,200 or something, or 1,300 or something like that.
It better be like I really can't see them like it. I mean, can they go more than like a $1,300, $1,400 range? I don't think so. So that's why I'm like, off the bat, I was like, I think this is too many options. Like I could see maybe like 2 options of this Steam Machine. Like is any like 3? I get it because the chips and the price of parts and everything right now. Like so, I understand why they are giving those options for the SSDs. If that's what it is, but I just feel like it's way too many options and like we just need this out. Like it is taking way too long. Like it's starting to feel dated. I'm getting like Steam Machine fatigue. Like I don't want to hear anything else about the Steam Machine because I just want to have it on the market, right? Like I think people, because it's like this is something that's been talked about for a while too. So does it still live up to the expectations that we had a few years back, right? Or is it starting to feel that it's dated? What does it mean for like future proofing itself? Like there's so many questions that like we don't know about the Steam Machine until we really have it or closer to like a confirmed launch. That like this means nothing unless we have all that information and like when it's coming out.
Well, I completely agree. And I think just from like a speculative standpoint, I think at first blush, you look at, there being 4 quote unquote SKUs of this, and you kind of look at yourself and like, wow, that's too many options. And I completely agree. I wonder if we're overcomplicating it in a certain way because we already know that they've released the Steam controller. That's, out there. People have been able to pre-order, get theirs and everything. So I do wonder if now we're kind of looking at maybe a possible release of, say, a 512 gigabyte version and a 1 terabyte version. And then that makes two SKUs. And then the other 2 SKUs are get both of those with controller. So now the people who have already pre-ordered, gotten the controller, they can just buy the machine itself, or someone can get the bundle at either memory storage size and then just be all set.
I did want to take a look what the pricing was for like the Steam Decks, like what the high end was. So like Canadian, the 1 terabyte OLED, I mean the fact that you can't get any of them right now because they're all sold out because of parts, but it's $819 for the 1 terabyte OLED model of the Steam Deck. So my guess, I think they would probably want to have that like the lower end price of the Steam Machine be around that. So having it be like probably $849 or $899 being for like the smaller end version of the Steam Machine kind of makes sense, because then that's like it's like kind of like what Apple does with the iPhones. They kind of like have different models that kind of like or different products that kind of like match the different price ranges or of products. So that's why they're hitting like the lower end PC market with like the MacBook Neo and also the Mac Mini to try to be able to like, and then you kind of move up to the MacBook line, which is around that 1,000 to 1,500 to 2,000 kind of range, and then you get the MacBook Pros that are a little bit more than that. So I think that they're trying to fill, like, the smart decision would be to fill that gap from like, okay, the if the 1 terabyte OLED, the highest end Steam Deck is $819, if we go up to $899 for the low end Steam machine and then you go up from there, then they've got everything covered from like the 512, like basically the $600 range all the way up to whatever machine that they want to sell. And I think Steam Frame is going to be kind of like its own like thing. I mean, if they can hit like the MetaQuest price range, which is usually around $500-600, then I think that they would be fine. And they might charge probably maybe a little bit more, because I think even the previous VR headset that Steam sold was a little bit more expensive than the MetaQuest. But if they want to be competitive within the VR space, or at least, you know, dominate that VR space, they definitely would need to kind of undercut Meta's sort of dominance in that.
I think regardless of their approach, it's going to be niche anyways. I don't think.
Absolutely,
I think the people who, you know, are hobbyists of VR and AR experiences are going to want to shell out as much as they feel the need to get that premium. I think it's also wireless, so I think that, you know, they're going to be okay. I think a lot of people are going to be more critical and share criticisms of the pricing for the Steam machine.
Is there still like a VR crowd? I don't honestly like
watching
how PlayStation is like slowly, and this is just from my point of view, slowly kind of like, hey, PSVR, don't worry about that, because you're hearing less and less announcements for this.
You are, because I think that VR has largely moved away from
the console space.
No, I just mean games, period. I think like VR and AR is all about like social experiences now, like living in a social hub. Like PlayStation really screwed up on just not doing, hey, we have PSVR 2 and do PlayStation Home again. There's all these like avenues where, you know, people can inhabit, you know, avatars and interact with each other and live in these social areas and everything. And I think that's largely where VR is right now, at least within PC. You also have like the entertainment side where it's emerging still, but like concert experiences, sports experiences, you get to, you know, inhabit, you know, a museum space in VR and stuff like that. So I think people who really fuck with VR still love it and everything. It's just, again, like I said, it's niche. It's not going to get you and I back into the headset.
There isn't anything that's been like recently that's kind of expanded the market for VR. I agree with that. I think there still is a gaming market to be had. There are some like really amazing games that are being created. Like just recently, I mean, the biggest one would have been Batman Arkham Shadow, which is an amazing experience. Like if you have not played that game, you love Arkham, you are doing yourself a disservice by not trying to be able to find a way to play it in VR. Like, yes, I know you need a headset for it, but the MetaQuest is like it's not that expensive at the moment. But I agree, you know, buying anything right now is expensive, so I understand that.
It's just going to be very interesting to see, again, because I think we're always looking at what's that killer app going to be for VR. And you know, like we look at Arkham Shadows and it's like, well, if you already have a headset, absolutely go out and play these games. There was the same that, you know, that Azeroth's or Wrath
Wrath of Azeroth. So Azeroth's Wrath.
And it was like, okay, so if you already have a headset, no kidding, you're going to go out and play that and everything. I'm very curious to see if Steam can come out and be like, here's the Steam Frame Half-Life Alyx 2, or what's going to be the thing that makes everyone go like, oh shit, now I'm already buying the Steam machine. Do I want the frame? I don't know.
I beg the question, are we still at that point? Like, I feel like for something new, I feel like old and trusted, or even trusted and true previously and maybe lost faith and coming back, like, could do that. But I feel like something new, you really need a big hook and a commitment for a few years, especially with the price of everything right now for gamers. A lot of gamers are getting more conscious of like what is available in their wallet. So it's like, it's just a sucky time for Valve. Like it's just sucky for this to happen, like when like prices to go up when they're trying to launch this whole suite of devices that gamers are going to love. It's just like how many
Sure.
of them are going to be able to afford to play it.
But that's the thing. I think if any other company could be able to afford to kind of ride that wave, it would be Valve, because they have pretty much more money than the god at this point, probably. And it's just by sheer fact alone that they just own the PC market when it comes to gaming. I think when it comes to like sort of the VR landscape, when you're talking about, Steve, of like kind of like where people are going to more the social and the AR, I think that's where companies are now focusing on sort of the wearable tech side, like the smart glasses. I think that side of what was VR is kind of moving towards that that end of this, and not really focusing on VR as much. I mean, but it's also like I've been kind of following it because I've just been more of an enthusiast of it. There is definitely some really cool games that are coming out for it, and also like PlayStation 2, I think as well, as you mentioned, Marcel, of like PlayStation's not really actively in it anymore. I think they pretty much stopped kind of like really actively doing more for the PSVR 2 once they kind of released that box that allowed you to be able to connect the headset to a PC and you can use Steam VR or whichever like VR platform, because with that headset, and that pretty much kind of spelled like the death knell of that headset, which just sucks because it's actually, minus it's not wireless, it's actually a pretty decent headset. It's an amazing quality and it's lightweight. But anyway, but
why
I think
not promote that, being like, hey, here's, Gran Turismo is the only way you can play on PlayStation, it's not on PC, but you'd be like, hey, get the best of both worlds.
I think that's the Jim Ryan side of PlayStation.
I don't want it.
I think that was like his sort of like maybe a version to it or something like that. But I would love to see PlayStation kind of like, still keep making those niche devices. I mean, that's how we got the PSP and the PS Vita to begin with. Yeah. And I think they are primed to be able to come back, especially if that handheld is still in the works, and I hope they don't cancel it because of all the chip shortages and stuff like that, but because I want it, but I think I think Valve, as you said, Camille, I think that really, like, they're the only company that can be able to ride this wave at the end of the day, and sort of maybe eat a little bit of like profit loss, because they couldn't control what was going to happen. They were hoping to have the Steam machine out already by this point in 2026. So I think it's just okay. They got stockpile obviously for the Steam machine. Whether the Steam like VR, we have no idea what that's been up to as of late. So who knows what that's going to be like. But I don't know. I personally, I want both. I would love to have both. I mean, like Half-Life Alyx is an amazing VR experience, like probably one of the top tier experiences you could ever have, and much like I think that they kind of in a way revolutionize what VR could be in terms of the gaming space with that game, and because it's similar how they did with the first person shooter with original Half-Life. So I don't know, I'm a fan of Valve. I want to be able to have both of these things. So
I feel like just like Nintendo, they're able to hold off for a year and then be like, okay, we gotta, if nothing has changed from then $50 more across the board, So
right.
That's the only way. That's the only way I can see it, because I don't think this RAM shortage is going anywhere anytime soon, that's for sure.
Unfortunately, I wish that there would be more of a stockpile, or basically companies would be like, AI, don't really want to invest in that. That's taking a lot of our stockpile. Let's distribute a bit.
Yeah. Well, talking about the future of gaming, topic number 2, PlayStation exec says that the next few years of unannounced games is unbelievably positive. There are no dire times ahead for the industry. And this is from VGC, from Andy Robinson here. And they're talking about the executive, Kristen Sevenson. That is a very unique last name there. And they quote and said, I'm in incredibly privileged position to have an amazing visibility into what games will be in the next 3, 4, or even 5 years. I literally cannot explain to you. The last year was an amazing year for games, absolutely, and even this year is looking really good as well. As is my own little quote I throw in there. This game will even this year will also be even better. Next year will be better still. The tragedy content is unbelievably positive. Sorry, the tragedy of content is unbelievably positive, and as an industry should be super optimistic about where where we're going in spite of the headwinds. Now, they did mention they're in a privileged position. I also think this is a huge privileged point of view here, because I don't know how you could be saying we're in a great state where we just
layoffs.
Layoffs.
Oh yeah,
Saying
we're in a great state has nothing like
well,
you're not really paying attention to the industry at all.
I feel like Svensson by Svensson, I think.
Svensson.
Oh, is
Thank
it?
you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The only one who
S's
pronounced
in
his
the
last name right. We're like, too many S's. My brain. But I mean, saying something like this, I would love to be optimistic. I think we all would love to be. Saying this means, to me, you're committed to not doing any layoffs in the near future. Like that, if you're so optimistic, don't do any layoffs. Yeah. Because if you do any layoffs, we're
like, I'm not getting fired.
Yeah, we're coming back to this interview where you said the industry should be so optimistic. Yeah. But you know what? Like, that is great. You know, talking back to the games, unannounced games, their lineup, I think they're talking about more PlayStation's lineup up ahead. And interesting enough, the unannounced games. That's what I'm curious about. I would have to think one of those games in there has to be God of War, whatever's happening. But then that also means we're probably going to see new IPs, because we've heard like the you know, how some doors closed on IPs that we loved prior. So this is optimistic for PlayStation fans. I don't know if it's optimistic for the whole industry.
I think that's where the line in the sand is, though. I mean, like, Svensson is a VP of second and third party content specifically. So I think that as tone deaf as this message kind of is in the current state of the industry, I think that the message here is more on like the software side. He's not talking. I think he's kind of largely ignoring the industry side of it. I think he's more or less like talking about, as a player, there's a lot to be excited about. And I think generally speaking, he's probably right. I think we're in a golden age of games. I'm going from playing a highly crafted adventure like Sorrows, and then going right into Mixtape, which is a very personable music-based game. And there's different games for different people, experiences, whether or not your genre, taste, whatever. I think like right now we're in like one of the strongest eras of software itself. And I think, looking ahead in the future, even if you're a PlayStation fan, you have Wolverine, you have Intergalactic, you have, the rumored God of War game and everything else. And then also all their third-party partnership games that we don't even know about. And for Svensson to look at that catalog, that unannounced catalog from second and third-party titles, like, I'm sure he is pretty jazzed about what is on the horizon. And I think, if anything, this probably gives more credence as to like, well, why are we talking about PlayStation 6? If the horizon is so, bright for the future of games, that probably means that the PlayStation 5 still has energy to tap out of it and stuff like that. That's kind of like where I am, and when I hear all of this stuff come from them.
That's actually smart thinking,
I think it's like, when you kind of own the sort of or at least in charge of like the second and third party, when you're hearing about what's coming down the pipeline from different studios, of course you would see like the future being bright, because you see a whole bunch of different games. And it's also like, I mean, for the folks that are not like necessarily like plugged into the news landscape as we are, if they're just like, hey, they're seeing a whole bunch of games coming out on PlayStation that they want to play. Like, as a gamer, it's pretty good right now. And I think it's like it'd be good to be able to see like what else PlayStation's going to do. But even just within like the second and third parties, like we're going to see like it with GTA, and basically like I think. The only thing is because I saw, I think the stats for Circana, like I think they just put it out either yesterday or sometime in the past couple of days, of like the stats for like top games sold on PlayStation, Xbox, and it's always the same. It's the Call of Duty, it's the Roblox, it's the Fortnite, it's the NBA 2Ks, it's always those top games that are always like the dominant ones for sales, and rightfully so, because they keep putting out content for those games, and people are interested in only playing those. But I think I think what the future of the industry should be would be like, I would love to see a gaming landscape of we're trying out new things, and that those will always like are best sellers just as much as the other games are. Because I think if we are still stagnant with just playing only those 6 games or 10 games and there's not enough room for anything else, that's when we're starting to kind of like go the other way of where the future isn't as bright, because it's like you keep pumping the same or new games out there, but they're not being sold or played by a larger audience. And so I don't know, I think like from his perspective, sure, yeah, the future looks bright from his point of view, but when it comes to like how the industry is, how outside what affects the industry currently with the tech industry and all that, like the future is not necessarily as bright. I mean, we might see the end of the tunnel, but that bright light is like is we don't know whether that speaks doom or like we're done, or hey, we're coming out of a really bad time. So I mean, still in that sense,
yeah, I think that the industry is largely in a transitionary period. I mean, we're clearly seeing a lot from the tech side with these larger companies chasing AI trends, obviously leading to global supply shortages and everything like that. And then we're also seeing, if we're looking at PlayStation, they're coming out of this whole phase of chasing trends of games as a service and everything like that. And like, obviously there's a huge course correction on that part as well. To your point, Steve, like I would want to almost like push back on the idea that like, we need these games or publishers to swing away from, Roblox and Minecraft and Grand Theft Auto and stuff like that, because I feel like there's a certain point where the industry can have both. I think it's all about these studios sticking within their lane a little bit. Like, there is no reason why Blue Point should have been making a games as a service. There's no point.
Yeah.
There's no way that Sony Santa Monica should have been making a God of War multiplayer game, or Naughty Dog chasing Last of Us multiplayer game. It's like this is where the industry does end up tripping over itself, and this is what leads to layoffs and everything. It's like we need to start getting away from chasing trends and doing original things, or double down on things that are already proven. Like, Forza Horizon is a great example. That's a tried and true series. Halo, stuff like that. Like, yeah, there are reasons why these tentpole franchises exist, but to the same point, the industry is at such a pivotal moment where we have people within our age demographic that grew up with games and almost expect games to be a certain way, where it's like we want narrative, we want social experiences, but the younger audiences don't really give a shit about narrative. They care about social experiences. They want, they no longer want to be in a game and role play as something else. They want an experience where they can be themselves and be with their friends. And that's what leads to, Fortnite, Roblox, the friend slop games and everything like that. It's like they're looking as a means of like, hey, it's after school, I'm jumping on with my friends for 2.5 hours and I'm going to play games with them. It's not, hey, I want to be Nathan Drake and I want to be on this new adventure. And it's like, the industry has to land at a place where they can facilitate both of those in a healthy and sustainable way.
Yeah.
Right now I maybe I'm being optimistic. I feel like we're on the tail end of this, where it is now we're getting back to, we know where the industry has to go. We have to do this in a right way and not chase trends, which is largely was games as a service. And I think for the most part, we've seen a lot of publishers now try it, fail continuously, and hopefully now realize, hey, maybe we just let our developers do what they're passionate about.
Yeah, and like I don't know. I just find with the whole, I agree with the whole Fortnite and Roblox. I feel like it's just like blood money at this point, but like the fact that those games are free and they're easy for a child just to like, oh, let me just Google download Roblox and that's it. Like every computer that can barely run solitaire, they figure out how to download Roblox off of
or even on my phone. Like
even on your
the
phone,
barrier of entry is nothing at this point.
It's nothing at this point. Yeah. So is that something that could go away, or is that just something we kind of separate of like, hey, this is for you guys and this is for us type of thing?
I don't know. I mean, I think the trend is like of playing those games is definitely trending younger, and they're more used to these kind of experiences. and like especially like a Fortnite and Roblox, that kind of thing. I mean, obviously the Call of Duty and the NBAs are a little bit more skewed a little bit to older teen / young adult, but I mean, we all play those games too, and there are definitely times where I've been tempted to jump into those because of just fun events, whatever like Fortnite would have, or whatever Call of Duty kind of adds into Warzone. And
only because of the Simpsons, they brought me back.
That was the only
reason why.
I mean, that definitely hit. I mean, and yeah, I think it's like I think we've kind of established that okay, if like these are obviously the top tier games of service, and right now that like if you're trying to chase to be the next one of those, it would be very difficult to be able to do. I think Steve, you said it right, where it's like when you're chasing trends, it's never really going to work. And I think I think with the pandemic combined with the games of service trend, I think that like hopefully we're kind of now near the tail end of that sort of trendiness of it, and we're actively trying to be able to get developers to be able to make the games that they want to be able to play. I mean, I know that like critical opinions of games, or at least the critically acclaimed games, don't necessarily always move the needle, but there are times where they can. And I think when you have like games like Claire Obscure Expedition 33, or even literally Mixtape that just came out, I think that kind of pushes folks into what kind of games do we could be able to make that people like and enjoy and have and is fun to play. That's I think where hopefully we can build, like again, putting on that optimistic hat of the future of the of gaming. I would love to see more studios be able to get the chance to be able to make the games that they want to play, because again, we're seeing a lot of like not necessarily happy accidents, but just like happy like experiences that we're getting from developers because they're able to be able to get the funding for them to make their game. They're passionate about it. They're sticking to their guns.
Creative freedom.
They have the freedom of being able to develop what they want. And the audience loves them for it, and they're able to do that. And hopefully we'll start to see that kind of artistic sort of like I kind of equated to, this may be a little bit of an older reference, but like kind of like when like United Artists started in the 20s and 30s, when like Hollywood was just basically was in its beginning stage, but they were just churning out like product after product, film after film, and it was just at a rapid pace. But the workers weren't necessarily being compensated properly for it, and they weren't necessarily be able to make the art that they wanted to. So like folks like Charlie Chaplin and others started the United Artists, which was specifically a studio for artists, for those creators to be able to make what they want. And that's what also led the industry to more like unionization and having that. So I think we're kind of, maybe if we're thinking of like mimicking the video game industry as sort of almost in the same spot as like what film was like, this is kind of where we're at in that era of the industry, where because they're like unionizing, we're making art from artists, and we're kind of like we'll get into that boom of gaming industry, hopefully.
I mean, hope, fingers crossed, although like all signs seem like they're trying to get rid of independence in gaming for developers and developer rights, but positivity, optimism for the future. One thing that's really interesting from his comments is how he says that there's going to be many more touch points for players. So does this mean that is this comment specifically linked to the fact that maybe exclusivities will not be as exclusive on PlayStation? Like when you think more touch points, and I think he followed up by saying like, obviously it's a challenge knowing that there's multiple devices people could play on, but me hoping that means that there's more places for gamers to play games that are PlayStation, or the second, third party games being available on different types of consoles and devices to play on. So hoping that happens as well. Hopefully there's a commitment there, as we try to figure out what that catalog for a company that made its name specifically on exclusives. So it'll be interesting to see.
It just sucks hearing about this when they're like PlayStation 6. I'm like, dude, we're not ready for that.
But do you think that this comment is kind of like, okay, like, because he also goes on to say like it doesn't mean like all the stuff that he's excited about we'll see in the near future, but could this be PlayStation saying, hey, remember when we were saying we're getting the road going on PlayStation 6? Well, we're gonna slow that down because it seems like there's a lot of content for PlayStation 5 coming.
Yeah, I mean, I think so. And I
think that's the right
Marcel,
choice.
I think a lot of people outside of PlayStation are talking about PlayStation 6. I think unlike Xbox, Xbox is very much like, hey, look at us, we're doing another console. PlayStation's like, shut the fuck up. Like, we're in the worst economic situation to make another piece of hardware. Just shut up. Like I
we're not talking about other consoles.
Reports and like insiders are the ones talking about the console and this rumored handheld and everything. And PlayStation's like, no, we can barely talk about Wolverine right now.
I could
shut up.
Well, they're obviously waiting for Caboose to go on vacation, and then they're going to talk about Wolverine,
which he is right now. So hopefully, Insomniac, like we're waiting.
In case you didn't know, he's gone.
He's gone. Well, I saw he actually tweeted specifically, Insomniac do not put like anything out about Wolverine
but they never listen to him.
They never listen to him. But no, like maybe it is like something where they're not ready for the PlayStation 6, but sideline hardware, like portable, that kind of makes more sense. And I do think going back to the software, that like software focus, instead of putting so much money, that is a lot more money than you're used to spending on developing hardware, and then trying to pair that with subpar software, it's just like you're not going to win over people, especially because the price points are going to be much higher than what we've spent in previous generations. So it's smart. Just wait. Focus on your software. I hope that's what they're doing. And then, for people that want a portable device, that's there too if they want.
I couldn't agree more. I think like right now, and I don't care what the team is, whether it's, the most highly prestigious team, I think it's downright irresponsible for any studio to come out and be like, we're going to do games as a service after High Guard. Like, I think you have to be mental to ever come out and be as bullish as that studio was to be like, yeah, we're going to get into this game. It's like you risked everyone's career, everyone's family, like the paychecks, everything to chase a trend. That is so irresponsible,
especially with the state of the industry right now. And it takes me back to like Nintendo and their mantra that they've had before of like not doing any layoffs and instead the executives taking cuts. It's like we have to now look at these companies and be like, okay, what like you have responsibility for your employees, and it's not just the performance of a game that you can land solely on a development team when you're assigning them things that isn't even within their realm of development because you just want to make more money for games as a service. So how are you responsible for a game failing? How are you responsible for your fiscal results? And instead of just laying off a team, okay, how do we pull back to really make what these developers making stand out and put the resources in it so it wins over players? I think that's the shift. Like, sorry, Steve, just 1 second. Okay. That's kind of like why I know, like, we're not talking Xbox, but I'm bringing in the X in the room because for me, I'm having a hard time because Aisha, like it sounds like everything's going gravy and like she's saying the right things, but I also think it may be irresponsible of them to come out with hardware when we didn't even get enough from this hardware. And it may just need that focus of like refocus the brand on Xbox. This is an Xbox. It's a gaming device. And we're coming out with kick-ass software from it, for it, that players are going to love. And we're going to give you a reason why this, like, to give us the greatest Xbox Series, like, X redemption story ever. Like, you just give that to us, right? So yeah, Steve, I'm 100% with you. Like, we need the executives kind of stand up and take some responsibility and speak with that responsibility in their heads.
Yeah, I think too is also like, because we like, let's hear about like what the executives usually complain about. It's like, well, AAA is, it's unsustainable. We're not able to like make the games that, because the budgets are so high. But it's like, but they're all like making like these huge giant games that they want so many player hours in, because that's what, according to them, that's what needs to be like, it needs to have to sustain their side of the industry. And I just would like, honestly, like I think you can get more when you're talking about we were both talking about like the software side. Like, I think we need to focus in on that. I think that's where they should focus on, because the hardware, obviously that's going to be an issue for a while, for a long while. So focus in on the software, because that's what's going to make you money. And I would love to see hey, AAA, basically instead of making the 70 to 80 hour games, let's make a whole bunch of 20, 30 hour games, at tops. And just because then the production time could potentially be shorter, but still with the same amount that you're paying your employees, and still be able to create a great experiences. I mean, heck, we just got, again, bringing mixtape of it, a 4-hour experience, literally a 4-hour experience. And I'm sure the majority of the budget went to the music side of it, but it's a banging soundtrack for that game. Yep. And yeah, you could argue, oh, it's not really a game because it's a walking sim, but it's they created an interactive experience that is hitting on a lot of levels, and that's just a 4-hour experience. So imagine what you can be able to do with the AAA budgets you have now, and make a really tight 10-hour to 15-hour game that could be amazing. I mean, heck, what was it, Expedition 33 15 hours total, max or something like that?
I think it was a lot more.
No, it was 70 hours.
I know people have 100 hours in this game.
Okay, sorry, I may be confusing with something else, but it's
that game, that game gave so much, and there's obviously, you can see it's a love letter, a passion project. So from those developers, that game gave so much. So, and there's it's because you can see that the enjoyment or the love they have for that genre of a Final Fantasy style of a game, turn-based style of a game. They pour their whole hearts on it. Hey, we get to do this, and maybe no ideas weren't turned around. Hey, I want to try this because I remember this from Final Fantasy IV or something. Yeah, let's do it. Let's implement that in there. And look how successful it is. It won so many awards that people were getting sick and tired hearing their names about it.
And I wasn't too far off.
Deserve every award.
Yeah.
So
I wasn't too far off. Expedition 33 was 25 to 30 hours.
If you blitz through it.
I think if you're making a game that's 30 hours less for the main story, I think that that's kind of the sweet spot. Because if you're thinking about they're saying, oh, well, we're competing with stuff like Netflix or streaming services, we're competing for people's time, then reward people's time by creating a great experience that they could be able to play for a short period of time. They feel like it's achievable, instead of pouring in the hundreds of hours that you would normally get into a game. Now, granted, stuff like Pocopia is a little different, because I think that's a little bit more to go at your own pace, and you kind of build whatever you want. But that only Nintendo can really kind of do that at this moment. I don't know. I just think that I would love, because if the complaint is it's unsustainable, budgets and time is taking so long to be able to make a game, then why not sort of create these smaller experiences that people can love with the IP that PlayStation has or Xbox has, being able to create multiple different God of Wars from different studios, or multiple fun experiences from in the Halo franchise from different studios. Spread the love out to be able to make these amazing experiences that people can be able to play with the IPs that obviously sell, instead of just having only one studio making this game, and they can only, but they're
in 5 years.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know.
Make the Star Fox while everyone's waiting for Zelda. That's what they all say.
It's already done, I bet you.
Topic number 3, talking about games that are coming out, and Sega probably had one of these coming out, as they confirm that numerous reboots of classic IPs are still coming out, even though despite the cancellation of their Super game. Now, what was this Super game? Because this is honestly the first time I'm hearing about this.
This is the first time I'm hearing about it too. I have no idea what Sega is working on.
Their version of what the initiative was working on back in the day, when they're this is a AAA, this is a quadruple A.
Oh, one of those.
This is going to be this is going to be higher than AAA. This is going to be a super game. And
this is Skull and Bones.
That was 5 years ago, and then I walked away and never talked about the project again, because I don't even know if we knew what the game was, aside from it just being a large budget project.
But I'm happy that Jet Set Radio and Crazy Taxi they're not infected by this. They're still. This is the best part of the news. I'm just gonna throw out there, because and I always say, Capcom, Sega's probably number 2, probably best developers at this current time. Like it's like 1 and 2. Like Capcom's been banging. We have Pragmata, we have Resident Evil. While like, of course, Sega has obviously with ties with Atlas, with Metaphor and Persona Reload, Persona 4 Revival that's coming out. All the bajillion Like a Dragon games that's coming out. If you're Pirates or I don't know, the last one was. There's so many.
I Stranger than Heaven.
Yes, they have Snoop Dogg coming in.
My thing is also don't put out a game that's gonna be like above the rest of normal games. Be a little humble. Secondly, I hope their teams, whoever was working on this super game, if they started, are working on other projects, and this doesn't mean layoffs. Which it sounds like it may not mean layoffs for now.
I think they all got pushed to the current
other
projects.
Yeah. But also it kind of sounded cool, whatever this super game is, because it was supposed to be like a big like world type of game that incorporates players but streamers and how they interact with each other. So I mean, that would have been cool, but again, did we need it? Is this something that shareholders wanted? Probably. So let's get rid of it, and I'm glad they did, and bring out all the good stuff. And also Sega, like, just deliver goods. Just deliver the goods that we want.
I just have one request from Sega. Can we just have the classic Sega sound effect come back again, please? Yeah. Not this. Sure. I don't want to see the eyeball with the Sega going across the. I don't want that. Or running across, just saying Sega.
Yeah, Xbox is going back to its roots. Why can't Sega?
Sega. I'm actually okay if they do Sega, because it just reminds me. Yeah, just something like, just give us back the nostalgia. But I don't know. You're talking about old souls here, so maybe the youngins don't want that.
They don't even know what we had. They're
not even playing these games.
They don't even play
these games. They're playing Sonic on Roblox.
Yeah.
But like Steve, you talked about like a social experience for the younger generation. I 100% agree. I just hope they don't try to do that with like Crazy Taxi, Jet Set Radio.
I don't think so, because no one,
like, we have an online mode where you could play with your friends, and when you stream, blah blah blah. No,
because I think that people outside of our age demographic don't care about Crazy Taxi. They don't know what Jet Set Radio is. Maybe Virtua Fighter and maybe like Streets of Rage, but like, again, I think that this revival of all these like classic IPs are for us. All these nostalgic, hungry millennials with disposable income. That's exactly who Sega's going after. And you know what? They got me. They kind of got me. As soon as they said Jet Set Radio, I was like, oh, shit. Well, fuck.
Let me put on my rollerblades. 1 second.
Yeah, exactly.
If they happen to bring out a limited time arcade Crazy Taxi, I am dumping all the loonies and toonies into that thing.
No quarters.
No quarters. All loonies and toonies. Yeah, exactly.
You try to put a dime in there with a nickel, and you're like, no, dang it.
Yeah, God damn it, it's stuck. Oh, no.
It doesn't work. I want the artwork from Jet Set Radio.
Oh, yeah.
Give us some good merch, Jet Set Radio merch.
Some shirts, some rollerblades.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
We got to be on that PR list. They need some really good stuff. Some tags, like just stickers. I'd be sticking that on everything, like I'm tagging things.
I also have one more question for you guys. Has there ever been a quad A game that has come out? I don't think.
I think it's
you
always been
hear
the
about
initiative.
A quad game coming out, but I don't think one has ever came up and be like, look at us.
The
Super
initiative
game.
was the first one to like really bring that terminology out, and that was supposed to be Perfect Dark, and no, that never came out. And then Sega, no. I honestly think
maybe Mind's Eye, Steve.
You know what? Mind's Eye did come out. Maybe it was. I don't know how overhyped they were trying to make that game. But I just feel like at this point, the industry as a whole just needs to under promise and over deliver.
Yeah.
Like, no matter what it is. Like, I don't give a shit if you're Naughty Dog and you love the smell of your own farts. I don't care. Just stop over promising on everything and just come out and actually surprise us.
Yeah. Agree.
With the exception, I will say, with the exception, Grand Theft Auto 6, because I don't even think that any of our collective expectations
That would be a
are
super
set
game.
appropriately. I think they are primed to over deliver.
People will voluntarily smell those farts for GTA 6.
I'll hold it like a bong rip. I don't give a shit. Give it to me.
Wow.
Oh my god. Well, with that being said, that concludes this episode of a gaming podcast. Once again, don't forget to leave a review and hit that subscribe button, leave a thumbs up on your respective platforms out there. And Steve Saylor, what's going on for you for the rest of the week?
Well, I'll be also having my Forza Horizon 6 accessibility review up on my YouTube channel at Steve Saylor, and basically got a few also other things coming down the line for some TTRPG stuff for Dungeon Disabled. So stay tuned for that. That'll be probably be happening within the next week or so. Some more announcements about that. But just follow me at Steve Saylor pretty much everywhere.
Love that. Steve V, how about you?
Yeah, same sort of thing. I'm doing it's a full sail ahead for Forza Horizon 6. We're gonna be doing our collective review as well, getting that out. Very excited about all of that. But aside from that, nothing I can really talk about. But if you want to keep up with me, you can find me across the internet at svicvari.
Hell yeah. And Camille, what's going on?
I don't know, man. Like, just trying to avoid asteroids out here, get through the rest of the week. You never know when the week could go to crap, right? But no, for all my random shenanigans, this is Canco on socials.
I love that. For me, MD14, I'm doing my St. Jude charity stream still, so come on by and make
I thought you were giving cheddar. I was like, I love cheddar cheese.
If you donate to the kids, I'll make sure I'll give you cheddar cheese if you want.
Cheddar cheese is awesome.
Or wherever you want. Wherever you like. Forza Horizon 6 review coming out May 14th. Too Steve, too serious. We'll be jumping on here and talking about the game. Super excited about that. And with that being said, see you all next week. Take care, everyone.
Bye.